I was inspired by a video posted by Cam recently to take the time to read a little bit of Greek. This in particular is taken from Greek Reader for Schools, checked out from the campus library. One neat thing about it, this was formerly in the collection of Dr. Letty. He was a classicist. The Greek in here has been modified a little bit to simplify it. So this is from Theophrastus. He wrote a work of stock characters for use in comic plays and the like. These can be very enlightening because they can tell us what a given sort of persona or stereotype was expected to do. And it can give a lot of information about the day-to-day perceptions of their world that were held by these people that wouldn't appear in other authors. So in particular, this one is The Grumbler. Ha memsimoiros, apostelantos merida ton cition tu piru, lege proston feranta, efthonese moi, tus domu, kai tu oinariu, ucapi daipton calesas, kai toi di, eigenacte, diote hue, alla dioti husteran, kai huron ente hodoi balantion lege, allu thesoron hioreca udapote, kai proston evangelis dimonon, hoti huios soi gegonen, lege hoti, ean prostes kai tes usios, ta heme su apesten elethe eres. Okay, I don't have the right I haven't corrected my translation of it. The English isn't there. See, the English isn't given in the book. So, this is my uncorrected attempt at translation because I forgot to correct it. Grumbler, or the Grumbler. Sending away a portion of the food of his friend, he says to the bearer, he resents my soup and bad wine, not calling me on a good dinner. And he fears a violent irritation. And he feels a violent irritation against Zeus because it does not rain, but because tomorrow it does. And finding a purse in the road, he says, but I have never found treasure. And to the one bringing good news, you have a son, he says, if you were to say I had lost half my inheritance, you would say the truth. So that's a little rough, but one thing I find very interesting about that is that this description of the Grumbler, in fact, is a dead ringer for what what would be today considered clinical depression. You'll notice that he says, apostelantos meredaton cition tu piru. So, his friend sends him food, and he turns it away, saying that it's an insult to his food. That if his friend were really a friend, he would order, he would invite him over for a good meal. But the reaction that you can see is completely detached from the stimulus. So normally when we react to something, it is related to the stimulus. So if you receive good news, you're happy, even if it's not as good as you were hoping for. There's a relationship between the stimulus and the reaction. But what you'll see here with the description of the grumbler is there's a complete disconnect. No matter how good a thing is, it's bad. If it rains today, he's angry because it didn't rain tomorrow. If he finds a bag of money in the road, he's unhappy because he hasn't found more money. Today these are recognized as very much signs of clinical depression, because this individual is not interpreting events rationally. There is a complete decoupling between what he's experiencing and his perception of the experiences. There's no relationship. So a person who's suffering from depression, they could win the lottery and still feel like committing suicide. They still feel horrible. And there isn't really a relationship. So there is the negative emotion that exists without stimulus. So all stimulus is framed within the negative emotion as though it were causative of the negative emotion. So I think in that what is being described as by Theophrastus as a person who is a grumbler is in reality someone suffering from clinical depression, and it just wasn't recognized that way back then because they didn't think in those terms. But it's always fascinating to read ancient authors and find what seems to be evidence for description of mental illnesses that are seen chiefly as modern concerns, but in reality are thousands of years old and have quite probably always been with humanity. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed it. I have not attempted to do the tonal stress. I'm not very good at it. It sounds sort of... my prof that I took ancient Greek with, he can do it. For me, it usually sounds terrible. But it makes it sound sort of sing-song. So it's a very beautiful language. Well, thanks for watching. Goodbye.